Okay, class. So continuing with our file discussions. Okay, so continuing with our file discussion. So we are back again. So some other methods of writing to a file. As we said, C supports a variety of formats for writing into files. And this time we will be seeing how do we write structure variables. Although last time you had seen, but structure variables come with some peculiar characteristics. If you remember our lecture on structure, element placing and all, so you saw there are at times gaps between the structure elements, right? So if you have an integer which is 4 bytes and then you have a double, you get 4 bytes of blank space between the integer and the double, right? So here we have a struct student having only two things, a roll number and a name of 20. So the total space occupied will be 24 bytes. See, character takes 1 byte in the memory, right? So 20 characters will take 20 bytes. So after 4 bytes, you start keeping one character, right? So here, if you see, we have a file operation here. So file, we have a file pointer OF, right? Output file, usually we use OF. We are defining a file c1.text into write mode. So once again, refreshing the last time. If you make a file in read write mode, if you open a file in write mode, two things can happen. Either the file already exists. If it exists, the contents are blanked, right? The contents are made blank, and then you restart writing the file as if it's a fresh new file. If the file does not exist, then the file is created by the program, and then of course a created file is anyways a fresh file. And usually what happens, if by some means the compiler is not able to, while executing it is not able to create a file, this will basically return a null pointer. So we check for a null pointer whether, okay, if this is a null pointer, that means we were unable to open the file, right? Maybe the file is locked or there might not be a space on the hard disk, something like this. So I am taking two structures variable, input 1 and input 2, having like the roll number is 1 and I have given some names, and just see how do we write. So in this particular case, we write using the fwrite command. Fine. So fwrite is basically file write command. We have seen printf and all these things. We can also use the fwrite command to write into the file. And how do you write into the file? You take this object, take a reference to that object, define the size of structure, right? So basically, this particular object will take the size of the whole structure element. What is the size? 4 bytes plus 20. So it will take 24 bytes. And we are writing everything to the output file, right? So in just a case, you can just see the syntax of fwrite just to see that. So fwrite, okay, see. So whenever you are confused regarding anything, you just Google things. You will get. This is basically the number of elements that you want to write. Basically, these are the number of records actually you say. So if you see input one basically is just a one record. So one means I am writing one record to the file. How do you define a record? So if a structure element has 10 elements, basically 10 integer, character, float, double and all. If it has n elements, right? Together it constitutes one record, right? So if you can see that in this input one, we have one record here. So we are writing one record in the file. Again for input 2, it's another record into the file, right? Now again, since we are writing these two things in the file write will have a non-zero value, right? Because you're of course writing two things into the file. So we just check if the file write is not equal to 0, that means the contents have been written successfully. Or else basically file write will return you the number of bytes that it has written into the file, right? Else we just say it's an error in the file and close the file. Now again, the same file which I had written here, c1.text, I am now opening it in the read mode. Remember guys, for read mode, it is mandatory that the file should exist on the system, right? If the file does not exist, it will pop up an error. So the file should exist on the system. And for writing, you used fwrite, right? And for reading, you are using fread. Again, how do you read? You define a structure object, right? You read everything by size of structure and you read record wise. So record wise means you are reading one record at a time, right? So whenever we write with structure objects, we usually make use of fwrite and fread. So let me just execute the code. So when you execute the code, you can see the contents of the file are written successfully. And when it is reading the structure from the file, it is saying, okay, roll number is 1 and Ram, and roll number 2 is Sham. You can see the same content which we had written to the file. One thing you keep in mind is, like, when I open the c1.txt, VS Code says me this file cannot be displayed because either it's a binary or unsupported text encoding. So by default, that files are written using text mode, but structure is a special kind of uh, functionality that is given by C, right? So in structure, what happens when I just say it, okay, anyways, open this. So you can see there is some gibberish values that are actually coming with Ram and Sham, right? You can see these are some gibberish values. So basically, this is known as the binary format, right? Binary format, as the name says, binary means basically encoded is zeros and ones only, right? And you may get some gibberish characters also. So see, whenever you are dealing with structure objects, remember that in most of the cases, the compiler automatically writes into a binary mode. We will also see a program which is on the binary mode a little while later, but this is just an example to show how do you write structure objects to a file, right? So whenever you are writing a structure object to a file, so you use fread and fwrite. So fread, you specify the structure object, then size of the structure, number of records. It's usually one in most of the cases, and then the output stream. So basically, output file is nothing but c1.txt. Right. So there are multiple ways we have seen yesterday also. So let us come to P12. Right. So in this case, what we are having is we are using structure variable using fprintf, right? In the previous case, we saw that we were writing using fwrite. Now there is also another command to use fprintf to write to a file. So see, we have a file pointer, right? And our structure has three elements this time: roll number, name, and marks. Fine. If you just want that, okay, let's say we just defined the other day, we should keep it in the descending order. So first we keep character, then roll number, and then marks. Fine. So now what we are having, we are basically storing multiple records one after the other, and we are using the command fprintf, right? So fprintf basically is file printf. What were you doing in printf function? In printf function, you were displaying something on the screen. What do you do in fprintf? Basically, you write it to the file. F stands here for file. So you can see the same syntax, right? If I, let's say, remove this fp and I basically add printf, so you can see this is my syntax of printf. Now when I am adding file here, I also need to specify the file pointer. What is the file pointer in this case? It is fp. So I just specify fp here, right? So let me just run this code. So I am opening the students.txt in write mode, and I'm continuously taking records one after the other. So you can see what we are writing. We are writing roll number. We are taking roll number, name, and marks, and we are writing this. So let's say roll number is 1, name is Nitin, and marks are, let's say, 45. Add another record. So I'm entering Y. So let's say roll number is 2, and this is Sanjana, and let's say the marks is 50. So I'm saying, okay, no record is now, new record is no. See, get CHE basically is it automatically gets a character, right? So when I'm entering Y or N, see, after pressing Y, I am not pressing enter. That is through get CHE, right? So basically, it is get CH plus enter together. So you will get a character like Y or N, and then the compiler automatically assumes that, okay, the enter is pressed. And F flush std in, right? So flush std in, what is std in? Std in is standard input. Standard input. So std in. And what is standard input? In our case, it is keyboard, right? Mouse does not work in C. So what is our case? Standard input is keyboard. So what it says is like whatever was entered. So basically, it is asking me to enter Y or N. So this, everything on the screen gets cleared internally, and then I take a character Y or N, right? So this is done basically to avoid any confusion, because if the whole string remains on the screen in the memory, so let's say it is saying add another record Y and N, right? So what basically get CHE will do, if you don't do F flush, you may get A as your input, and which may result into a garbage value. Again, these things change from compiler to compiler, but conceptually this is this. F flush std in means flush out all the standard input elements what we have entered till now, And after clearing everything, we are asking the compiler to get a character from the keyboard, right? So what was the file here? Students.txt, right? So you can see student.txt this time has written perfectly fine, right? So as I said, sometimes when you use fwrite, it will be writing into a binary mode. So if you want to have a plain text file, you can use the usage of fprintf, right? Fprintf basically writes a clean text file, the way you saw here, right? Similarly, if you have fprintf, you can also have fscanf, right? What I'm doing, the same thing I'm doing here. So I'm opening the file students. Let me just try this students.txt. Let me just check because we just created that file. Yeah. So in this case, I'm doing the same thing, but instead of fread, I'm using fscanf. So remember the syntax of scanf. In scanf, you were just entering the data types, right? So this is a data type, the syntax for scanf. If you particularly observe this thing, scanf format specifier, and then using ampersand, you are basically taking the inputs. Now when things are fscanf, that means basically I am reading contents from a file. F stands for file. So file scanf means I am reading the contents from a file, and since I am reading the contents from a file, I need to actually specify the file pointer. So file pointer in our case is fp, and now we are reading the roll number, the name, and the marks. That is again very simple. We are just printing it on the main screen. So we read it from the file, and then after reading, we just display the value of roll number, name, and marks. It's a very easy concept. So either you can write using fread and fwrite, or you can write using fprintf and fscanf. Fread, fwrite basically works on the binary mode, so you may see some gibberish characters. Fprintf, fscanf works in the ASCII mode. Yeah, I record the lecture using a third-party tool, and then I upload it on the YouTube, right? So I have seen that WebEx recording sometimes breaks automatically, so I avoid recording using WebEx. Okay, so there is a new mode here, which is known as the append mode, right? In append mode, what basically happens is we use the A mode. So see, append mode basically, as the name says, it will append to the existing file. Append means to add, right? So what happens here? See, we have a data file here, data1-text, data-1, sorry. So data-1 basically has a content right now saying India is my country. Already the content is there, right? Now let us do one thing. So whatever data I will add here, right? So let me just run the code, enter your message. So let's say we will enter who will bell the cat, right? So it says that your message is appended in the data1.txt file. So now let us come back to the data1.txt file. So you can see who will bell the cat is actually added to the existing message which was there in the file. Right? If I run the code again the things will be added. So let me just run the code. So let us say we write keyboard and mouse. So again, let us come back to the file data1.txt. So you can see keyboard and mouse are appended to the file. Now remember, if you had opened this particular file in a write mode, so what will write mode do? It will erase everything from the file and just keep the new message. So let me just run the code. So let us say we say new things. Let's say WebEx and CS102, right? I didn't change the printf, so it is telling like this, but if you can see, the write mode is enabled now. So when the write mode is enabled now, you see the entire previous content is lost and only the new content is being saved. That is what the write mode actually does. So since this program was an append mode again, so let me now append two things now. Let us say umbrella and rainy season. Right. So now let us come back to the file. So you can see WebEx1CS102 was there, and now we appended umbrella and rainy. So this is the append mode. So we now have read mode, write mode, append mode. Of course, there are n number of combination, R plus, W plus and all, but those are rarely used. We normally use read mode, write mode and append mode if you want to append something to a file. So error handling to a file we have actually already seen. So error handling, what happens whenever you are having a file pointer fp. Okay, let me just see the chat window. Okay, so whenever you are opening a file, right, so you use the command fopen, that is file open. So now what happens in this particular case is that if the file is successfully opened, right, if the file is successfully opened, it returns a pointer to that particular file. That means it returns the address where the file is located in the memory, right? But if the file somehow is not returned, let's say the file does not exist, right, because you are opening in the read mode, so it will basically return a null pointer. It will return a null value. So we say the file cannot be opened. Now if you see data1.txt is already there, but I don't have any file called data2. So let me just first execute this code. So it says file is opened. Why? Because this was the file name data1.txt and I'm opening it in the read mode. So you can see that data1.txt is already existing. Now let me keep data999, right? This file does not exist here. You can see in the left pane of my Explorer, this file does not exist here. Since this file does not exist here, now let us run the code. So you can see file cannot open, right? Because this file does not exist, fine. Exactly reverse happen when you do something in the write mode. So in the write mode, basically what happens, since the file, if it is not there, it will be created, and if it is there, it will be opened as a blank file. So in write mode, you will always see the file is always open. See, the file is always open, and since the file was not there, the file actually is created. You can see it's a blank file which is created. So it's a good practice. So whenever you basically work on files, you always make sure that once you open the file in any mode, always better to write this loop. Just we have to always check whether the file pointer is returned or not returned. Fine. So just a good habit, that's it. There is no default kind of file type taken. So even if you don't specify anything, by default it's an ASCII file unless you are writing a structure object, right? Changes on compiler to compiler, but by default there is something which is by default it is in the ASCII mode by default. So even if it does not have an extension, you can open the file in the notepad and then you can try to see what are the contents of the file. But of course, if you are using fwrite and fread and you are storing structures, it will be gibberish. So extension actually does not matter in C. Right? Again, the same code which I explained you previously, if the file does not exist, basically it will just give an error of unable to open the file. Right? It will just pop up this error that it is unable to open the file. And finally, we are coming to one more mode, which is known as the binary mode, right? So in binary mode, actually you are storing zeros and ones in the file, even though you may see some gibberish text when you open in Notepad. But conceptually, binary storing is basically just storing the zeros and ones of the file, right? So we have a structure object here, structure three numbers. I am taking three numbers here, n1, n2, n3. And in the main, what I'm doing here, I'm having a file pointer, and you can see I'm keeping an extension .bin. Again, I'm saying extension is not necessary, but extension is just for sorry, for human reading. That's it. So you can see the mode write is write mode. Basically, if the file does not exist, it will create a file, and it is saying the mode. See, by default, it's the ASCII mode only. ASCII means our normal ABCD and all those things. Now I'm saying that the write mode is binary mode, right? What does binary mode mean? Binary means it will write zeros and ones. So now see what I'm doing, I'm having n equal to 1 and less than 5, right? So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and I'm having number 1 as the n, the number second is 5 times of n, and the third number is 5 into n plus 1, and together I am writing. See, since I am writing in the binary mode, you can see just as we saw, since we are writing in the binary mode, we are using the fwrite function, right? We are using the fwrite function, and then we are writing one single record. Why single record? Because eventually you are writing three numbers only, and these three numbers constitute the structure element, right? So let me just run the code. So you can see that this file is written. Of course, we didn't display anything on the screen. And what was our file in which we wrote? It was program.bin. Again, it will not be human readable. So let us go to the file program.bin. Because it was a binary mode, see, it says the file cannot be displayed because it is either binary. See, VS Code says it is either binary. So let us try to open it using inbuilt editor. So you can see there is a lot of gibberish content which is written. You cannot read anything. Why? Because it's a binary encoding. Internally, if there is a binary reader, it will actually read the file contents as zeros and ones, right? So now when do you use the binary mode? So for example, let's say you are creating a MP3 file or you are editing a PDF document, and all these special, basically non-text documents, whatever you do, are basically binary objects. They are nothing but they are binary objects. So that is the use of binary. But in normal C to C routines, in which what you do not require much of the binary read and write. Similarly, for reading binary, exactly the same thing. You are just using, instead of WB, you are reading, so you are using the write mode. And when you are specifying B, it means you are saying the compiler that basically I need to read the binary format. I need to read the from a binary file. So same program.bin, and let me just execute the code. So you can see the file, for us humans, it was just some gibberish text, but the computer read it perfectly well. You can see n1 is 1, n2 is 5 times n1, so that is 5, and n3 is 5n plus 1, which is 6. So we can see the binary read and binary write. Again, a very interesting concept here is known as fseek. Fseek, as the name says, see, when you are seeking something, that means you are trying to find something, right? So let me just show the output first of this code. So we have a file data1.txt. So let me just write something here. That is data1.txt. So let us keep the text in this data1.txt as India is my country. Fine. So let me close all. So you can see data1.txt is this, and I am having p19 as seek, right? So basically you have a file pointer, you clear the screen, you open the file data1.txt, which right now contains India is my country. And where is the seek program, right? So what I'm doing, I just check for the null. If the pointer returned is null, I just say cannot be opened. And now I am saying see else. Enter the value of n to read the last n characters, right? I just want to read the last n characters of a file. See, by default, when you open the file in read mode, it starts reading from the beginning of the file. It starts reading from the beginning of the file. But now what if I just wanted to read the last n characters of a file? So how do you do that? For doing that, we have the fseek command, right? We have the fseek command. So what happens in, oh, my voice is stopped. I don't think, because my mic is showing the signaling. I don't know whether I'm audible or not, because I think I should be audible. Now, okay. Okay. Once again. So, yeah. Okay. Thank you. So, let's say when you open the file in a read mode, right, it starts reading from the first character, the first byte. So for example, if you read this file, India is my country, so you basically starts reading from the capital I and you go up to the end of the file. Now what if I want to just read from some random position or from towards the end, like let's say the printf is saying enter the value of n to read last n characters. Let me just execute this code. So let's say I say I want to read the last 4 characters. So you can see the last n characters, basically 0. Basically when you say country, let me just explain you how does this work, right? You can see I'm using the command fseek file pointer -4 and 2. I will just explain what each of these things mean. So let us come back to the India is my country. So we have India is my country, right? So basically fseek takes three things. First is the file pointer, right? And then it says the current position. Oh, sorry, fseek takes three things. First is the file pointer. Then this basically specifies the position. I will just tell you what is this position meaning. And the last is a number, which can be three numbers. Either it can be 0, 1 or 2, right? So basically this particular position, this is position 0. The end of the file is position 2. And one, let's say you are reading the file and you, let's say, reached at this particular point, current read. Let's say you are currently reading to this. So that is represented by 1, right? Now what happens here? So you are asking them in fseek, you are saying that, okay, I have to start, the file pointer is fp, that means I am reading data1 hyphen dot text, fine. And then you are saying minus n, right? Minus n means basically in this case we give 4. And see what we are giving, the last character as 2. So again, 0 is the beginning of the file, 1 is the current position, and 2 is basically the end of the file, right? So that means we are going to the end of the file, and then we are saying minus n. In our case we gave as minus 2, right? So this is 2, that means I am at the end, and then I am saying minus n, which is nothing but minus 4. So in the last is basically we are telling to read the last 4 character, hence we are saying minus 4. So what are the last 4 characters? 1, 2, 3, 4. So which is nothing but ntry. So you can see ntry, right? So let us run again. So if I say the last 6 characters, so it becomes OUNTRY. Now let us do one thing. Let us say you want to just read the first 5 characters. So I am removing the negative. So I am saying, let's say if I enter 5 here, and basically this will be 0. This represents the beginning of the file. So let me run the code and say 5. Okay. Okay, sorry. From the beginning, okay, sorry. From the beginning, basically I jump from 5 bytes. So see, n was 5 in our case. So India 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So I reach from 0, I reach up to 5 characters, and then I read everything. So you can see the space is also coming, is India, or the space after India is my country. So you can just play around with fseek to see what are the outputs that you get. So let's say you enter 2 and again enter minus 1 just to keep the original copy of the program. So minus m, if I say 6, this comes the output. So just 3 things to remember in fseek, 3 positions. 0 is the beginning, 1 is the current, and 2 is the end of the file. And in the middle line, in the middle element, you just say the number of characters that you want to represent. Okay, class. So I think it's 1 o'clock. So we will just quit the lecture for today. I will just put the recording on YouTube. 2 programs are remaining that we will see in tomorrow's lecture. Okay. For the marks release, I think I will just send by today or tomorrow. I just need to compute the code and all those things for the quiz on the pointers as well as the quiz today. So guys, thank you. So we can now stop for the day. You all can quit.